Hey, what's going on? So today I wanted to finish up or kind of work on, I guess you can say, a track that I made in the last video, this video here, where it was all done on the Octatrack. It was this track here. Right, it's just a couple different ideas, but the main idea that I really like is this one. Right, and in case you're curious about this sample, no, this video is not sponsored by TrackLib, but I got the sample off of TrackLib. It's going to be the Cloud Raps by Frank Dukes. I got a link to it down below in case you're interested as well. Actually, you know what? This video is sponsored by LANDR, but more on them later. So anyway, I took this, I plugged it in with the RM so I can get it super duper solid and track everything out. And I have it in Ableton Live now, which is this. You might hear that added synth sound. That's going to be coming from the peak here. Right, I was just trying to decide what ideas I wanted. Another thing you might notice is that the compression is different. That's because on the Octatrack I had it slamming and I had the kick a lot louder than the rest of my mix to kind of fake a sidechain effect. But I can actually just do that now, which is pretty cool. So for example, these are our two filter sections here, right? And we are just going to group those and call it sample. And then in this one, I also want to add a sidechain, or not sidechain, I want to add a compressor. Boom, compressor, sidechain, input. We're going to take it from kick. Ignore all that. That's all the syntax group. You know what? I don't think I'm going to use the syntax. I might as well delete it. So now if we listen to our sample, we got a little quiet kick. I was dealing with some like gain staging issues with the Octatrack, as I kind of always do. So I was clipping the sample, but mainly because I recorded it in a little hot, sadly. But whatever, I ain't tripping too hard on it. So everything's kind of quiet, but I'm just gonna turn our gain up on this here, and then I can bring this down. Oh yeah, let's go with 10. Don't know why I choose 10. Saw Andrew Huang do it once, started doing it ever since, never looked back. There it is. Listen to how wild this chop is. It sounds so weird, right? Because the tempo is still the tempo of this, which is, what is the tempo? 66 or 132, but my track is at 120. So if I throw the kick on there, it's kind of trippy, right? I'm gonna go ahead and add the SP950, which is also this little filter that I've been using a ton. It just kind of has a nice little sound to it. And this is just for general filtering. And I'm also gonna set this to stereo, just so I can bring it down. Right, so this is kind of our sound here. We'll bring the filter up just a little bit. We'll close that. I mean, this sounds sick. I got super juiced up about this, and I just wanted to mess around with it a bit more. So that's when I started adding stuff from the peak. But I wanted to keep the setup pretty small. I didn't want to get too distracted with a ton of different things that I can keep going and doing and stuff. So for this one, I know I work at Novation. I say this every time. I work at Novation. But this isn't a Novation sponsored video, and this isn't me trying to like subliminally push Novation, but I just really like the peak. It's flexible, it's fast, because I've been using it since before it was out, and I use the launch key because I got it for free. I work there, but it's actually really nice with the scale chord mode and stuff, because again, if I jump back into this, I can see that we are in E minor, so I can just set this to, where's my E at? E minor, done, and then if I arm, peak, right, it's gonna work no matter what I do. So let's say we zero that out. Right, you get the idea. It's super easy to use. So I happen to be using these two things, but no, it's not sponsored by Novation. So this is kind of the setup I wanted to focus in on, right? Very much just Octatrack, which is pretty much done at this point. It's really just peak and making synth sounds for this track. So to give us a bit more real estate and actually to show you what I'm doing, let me go into geezer mode. Yeah, 150 should work, right? Cool, that's fine. This green's pretty brutal looking, but I'm just gonna let that fly. And just so I don't lose these clips, I'm gonna put them over here. Yeah, I know, I can work over here, but I'm gonna just work it over here for now. Okay, so we need to make a bass. I want a bass for this. We do have the bass in the background, boom, boom, right? Which is this one here. All right, if I go and look at our sample, we'll bring down our filter. I mean, I could try and match that, right? So on peak, I'm just gonna initialize the patch. That's cool. So then we'll just... It's all fine. All right, let's see. A little bit of delay on there. Sync it up to whatever the tempo is. Let's do a 16th. Our source will be external. That's cool. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take audio from that peak track and track it in just so I can move on to the next sound. I've really been enjoying working like this because it just kind of forces me to keep moving forward. So you can see our music is coming in right there. Let's go ahead and exit the loop. That's fine. So now that that's there, I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm probably gonna regret this, but I'll delete it. And I will loop this again. Sweet, let's line this up again. We'll initialize the patch. Right, we'll go to our effects and delay into the reverb. That's kind of cool. The like octaves one, right? So we'll go. Yeah, that's actually a really dope patch. So let me go ahead and build that. So what I'm doing is I have the wavetable set to octaves and I want it to go, right? I just kind of want it to fall down in octaves for the wavetable. So to do that, I'm gonna use mod envelope 1. We'll reset this here. Sustain is gonna be where that modulation ends. And I want it to end at the very bottom of this sweep. So starting here, right here. Maybe we can even go down 4 octaves. Nah, I like the 3 octaves. So mod envelope 1, go negative. Want it to end there, right? You can hear it pops up. We'll give it a little bit more release. And how do we get there? Decay. And attack, actually. And I need a little bit of a delay because it's happening too fast. We don't hear the initial octave. I could technically move our manual up a little bit, but what I'm gonna do instead is go over to our mod envelopes and give myself a bit of a delay here. Yeah, that's cool. 47, let's try that. Right? Way too much reverb. Could go a little faster. maybe less delay. That's cool. I don't like where the sustain lands for the amp envelope. I mean, same with the release. Maybe a little bit of attack. Whoa. Yeah, let's just try and add that. I think that kind of works, right? So let's hit record. Awesome. Stop that. So now again, same thing. I'm just going to duplicate this track that we had before. Select the track contents of this one, delete, arm, and hit record. Turn our loop off just so I can get the effects tail. Awesome. I think that kind of works. And just to be extra safe, I'm probably going to delete that again. All right, so I'm going to add one final thing. And I mean, I have such a powerful synth, but I always just do the most simple thing. So I'm just going to initialize the patch and just kind of, you know, turn the filter down, a little bit of resonance, maybe mild key tracking. Play this back. I'm gonna go ahead and mute that one. Yeah, I kind of like that kind of falling off, kind of tripping thing. I'll probably, let's see. One job, man, one job. Let's do this. Okay, so I don't like that last note. Luckily, I wrote this in MIDI. Let me go and we'll turn scale on here. We'll put it back into E. Oh, there it is, E minor. I was gonna fold it to the scale, but hey, nailed it. Shape this up a little bit. Really plucky. Yeah, no reverb. We don't need the reverb. It's getting a little too spacey in here. We'll duplicate that track. We'll go ahead, select this track content, cut that out, and same thing. Let's track this in. Let's be super duper boring from the top. Do. Maybe play it a little. I'm playing it way too much. Let me just do a little bit. Okay, so there was one in there that was really good. I'm gonna listen to it back actually. So this little section here, I actually don't like that. I'm going to use Live's take lanes. And one of these was actually pretty good. I think it was this one here. Oh, wrong button, buddy. Hit enter, let's see what that does. Cool, that works for me. So now that peak is pretty much done, I might add some more stuff later, but probably not. I think right now it all comes down to arranging the track within Live's arrangement view. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so zooming out, let me get this out of the way. So we have a bunch of different elements. This peak MIDI track can be muted and kind of tossed to the side. We don't need that anymore. We got a couple different elements, right? And then these are all my other tracks for other things. This is actually the original sample here, in case you're curious. Let me do a -10. Super pretty, super duper pretty. Yeah, and I just had to have it. So again, shout out to TrackLib. Let me get rid of these take lanes here. So now we are at let me go ahead and label these real quick. We'll skip this whole part, it's boring. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit H, and that'll kind of collapse all of these somewhat so that we can kind of see them all at the same time. Sure, we could do a little better, but what we need to figure out now is how the beginning of this track starts. So I'm just gonna insert a bunch of blank time here, just Command I, and we're gonna start with our filtered down section, right? And maybe we can bring in this little, yeah, this is cool, I like this. So I'm actually gonna take the second half of this sample, and before I completely lose this and destroy this, let me go and make a copy of that. Okay, cool, here we go. So I'm gonna grab the second half, boom. Right, we'll duplicate that. And then we can probably bring in the snare right here. That'll be kind of cool. Oh, so this was actually really fun that I did on the Octatrack, which is I had the drums chopped. This is from the original sample. I was able to get the multi-track for it, but then I also pitched it and chopped it again on the Octatrack. So actually, I think this would be a better way to start this track, right? Because it kind of has the vibe already. So let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, we don't even need this stuff. Now we can bring in the snare. I mean, that's kind of where it was a second ago, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and select just this section here and hit Command Shift and D. That's gonna duplicate that. So now we're at the 9. I'm making house music. We're kind of trying to land on these numbers up here at the top, which is great because it's easy to see and it's easy to mix these types of tracks in when you're DJing them later. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this little section here, and we're just kind of working as we go. Maybe here we can bring in that little up hat. Oh, you know what I just realized? I didn't record this little section here. I need to get the sounds off of this Octatrack. I didn't record the open hi-hat sound, which I believe is on this pattern here. Yeah, that's the sound I did not get. Okay, cool. So we're going to launch the ERM. Awesome. I'm gonna hit record and grab this real quick. My bad. Cool, and at this part here, I do want this open hat sound to kind of come in and, you know, rock it. Let me go ahead and delete this here. So we'll give ourselves some momentum, right? Unsolo that. Duplicate this. So this filtered down section actually is one long sample, which is also the filtered up section. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit of working room here, and I'm gonna grab this section of the sample and let it roll over a little bit, because this eventually starts to open itself up. But let me go ahead and open up the filter here so we can actually hear it. So this is filtered down. And then the filter should start opening up, right there. So I want this part where the filter actually opens up to land right here, and I'm gonna just work it backwards, just like that. Take this, duplicate this, and then I'm gonna let this part run out. And since this is the sample open section, I'm gonna put it there just to kind of help keep track of things on my end. Let's see what it sounds like. Pretty cool, right? A lot of lower end rumble. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a quick little mix on that. Take the 8, lower that. We'll set that to, let's set that to about 80. Yeah, that works. Okay, so now we need to kind of figure out what is this, the breakdown, right? From here, does it go into this like calm? right? Because the other thing too, we do have some alternative samples that we recorded off the Octatrack. We have this one here. We also have this one. This one's a little funkier. I kind of like this one actually. Let's see what this sounds like here. And let's keep this little open hat going, or the closed hat I should say. You know what, this works. I'm gonna make it a really weird break just for the sake of time. This isn't gonna be a DJ friendly track. I'll let you know that right now. But I'm gonna take this little section and drop this here. And what that's gonna do is take that one part that we had here, which was the original sample chop with the filter open, and kind of mix it in a bit to go into the next section of that sound being fully open the whole time. So watch. Right, so now we can do that again. And now we can drop it into the entire track basically. So I'm just gonna grab all this here, copy paste that. This is just the Octatrack still. We haven't even brought in the peak stuff. Right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab our kick. We forgot the kick. Most important part, never forget the kick, bro. Yeah. Duplicate that. And now we can duplicate that a couple times. And now we're gonna be working on this section here, and maybe this is where we will bring in, actually we need to bring in this bass peak, right? Do we even need this bass line? Maybe it's just too prominent right now. We'll just have it way in the background. That's for the scholars. They'll notice that 50 years from now. You can't even hear that. You know what, I'm gonna mute it for now and watch. I'm gonna forget that it's even muted by the end of this video. But let's bring in maybe one of these lead sounds. That one's kind of works. Let's see what this one sounds like. Yeah, I like this one better. So I'm gonna consolidate that. I just hit Command J to consolidate that. We're gonna lower this down. And throw a reverb on here. Sweet, this is coming together a lot better than I had expected. I was excited for it, but you never know where these things can go because I'm just recording this kind of like on the fly. Oh, you know what we can do here? We'll bring this sampled down section. No, we will not do that because that doesn't sound good. We'll keep it at this. And what would be really fun here is to keep this kind of momentum going, right? But I'm gonna do a little bit of a fake out, and I'm just gonna take these two kicks out and just let it kind of slide back in like that. But we need to add a bit more energy. So to do that, I'm gonna type in open and look for an open hat. Jesus, these are loud as hell. Sure, we'll go with the classic. So we'll look for our hat closed section, which is right here. I'm gonna drag this in there and just butcher it. And I'm gonna bring this right here, and this needs to be really, really, really quieted down. Oh yeah, that needs to be even quieter. Yeah, this is gonna be cool. So now we can bring this in and let this ride out with the rest of the track, and this is gonna give it a lot more energy. It's almost gonna sound as if it like sped up the tempo. So here, watch. Yeah, this is great. Lower it even more. Cool. So another thing I need to do is kind of just add a bit of a glue compressor onto the master of this. Oh, by the way, I also finally downloaded Bounce in Place, which has been the greatest thing in the world, but we don't need to focus on that right now because we're not using it. But this compressor is just going to help glue the track, because remember on the Octatrack, I had this compressor set on the master to really squash this thing, but I don't have a compressor on here. So we're going to go ahead and kind of mess with this glue. Give it a little bit of a makeup. And actually, you know what? This is actually the perfect time to mention today's video sponsor, LANDR, because what LANDR will do, will take this like rough mix and give you a super professional sounding mastered version of this track. But why that's beneficial in a section like this is that we can hear what is going to be brought out that might be kind of trouble later on when it comes to actually getting it fully mastered and ready to release. Because right now it's pretty, like, it sounds cool, right? But there's a lot of clashing little elements, and it's really kind of hard to pinpoint them and figure out which ones need to be tamed, I guess. So I'm gonna go ahead and bounce out this loop. Actually, you know what? We'll make it fun. I'm gonna take this loop here. I'm just gonna export this, and what this is gonna do is gonna give me a little loop that I can throw into LANDR and get a good sounding mastered version of this loop, so I can really help when it comes to getting the mix down. And I know I'm getting way ahead of myself right now. I don't think I'm gonna arrange this entire track right now because that would be way too boring, especially for this. But I kind of wanted to show the process of taking an idea and throwing some more elements on top, kind of getting it trimmed up a bit and arranged, and then let's get a rough mix, get it going so we can listen to it in the car, enjoy it a bit. You know, I got a show at the end of August where I'm going to be DJing, and I'm trying to make some more music so I can play some more music there live. It's not a live set, it's just a little DJ set. More on that to come later. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and export this real quick. All right, so here we are on the LANDR site. I'm gonna go to master, and I'm gonna select new master. It's gonna instantly master a track. All right, so let's master this right here. And it's gonna upload. One of the reasons I love LANDR is because I am no professional. And if I wanna hear a professional sound, especially when it comes to mastering, this is a really good, cheap alternative to that option. Actually, you know what? While this finishes uploading, let me tell you a little bit about LANDR. So I love LANDR because I am no mastering engineer, and I have no clue where to even begin when it comes to mastering, besides like applying a limiter and hitting it a little bit with the gain knob. And two, mastering can be super duper expensive. I can justify the cost if I'm a huge musician and music's my main thing, but I have long accepted the fact that I am no Bruno Mars, nor am I going to be headlining EDC anytime soon. But that doesn't mean I don't want my music to sound the best that it can within a relative reason. So something like LANDR, I feel, strikes that balance perfectly for me, because, for example, if we go over to pricing, the pricing for mastering only, $10 a month, you can just get 5 masters, or you can even buy like on-demand, 1 master, 1 payment type of thing. So it's actually pretty cheap, relatively speaking. And also, if you use the link down below, you get to preview the master of one of your tracks and get 30% off. So it's even cheaper than this. You can even go with the full access for a mega discount, which includes like distribution, mastering, samples, and a bunch of other stuff. But I just need mastering right now. So 5 masters a month is enough to kind of put a little fire under my butt and get me to make some music. Or if you don't want to make some music right away, the masters do roll over, so you'll be good to go when you want to release that 40-song album in 8 months' time. All right, so let's go ahead and listen to what we got going on. Lord Almighty, blessed be thy name. My ears just exploded. See what I'm talking about when it comes to mastering? Volume match, please. That's all I ask. All right, here we go. Original. Dude, this sounds good. And I want this to be warm. Loudness to be medium, that's fine. You know what? It already sounds kind of warm. Maybe I want this to be a bit more open instead, because that will allow me to have all this really harsh grittiness, but still have a bit of clarity without it sounding too muddy. I mean, too late, right? It already sounds really muddy. Original. So right away, what sticks out to me is that our clap is not loud enough, and this closed hi-hat that I added here after the fact is a little too loud. That's fine. It's funny because these all start to kind of fight and try to like overpower one another when it comes to the mixing process, right? Because with the mixing process, things like, imagine you have, this is the only way I can ever really think about it, and it's a little bit of a weird way to think about it, but imagine you have all this cool things in your room, but your room's a mess. That's like an unmixed track. And at times, if you have just a desk of cool stuff, but too many cool things, there's not enough space, and you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. Some things are gonna be blocking other things. And in this case, that's kind of what's happening with the clap, because when we're listening to it here, the clap's there. You know what, the clap's not too bad. But at certain times, the clap kind of falls behind. And I think that that's because this sample might be a little too bassy at times. But I have this little EQ on here, and I might just have to push that up to about 100. But then see, we lose that bass sound. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna leave it at 80, and I'm just gonna embrace the wiggle of all these sounds kind of moving between one another. So let's take this loop off. Let me go ahead and lower this, see where we're currently at. Let's give ourselves a bit more real estate. Yeah, so this is all going really well right here. I'm gonna take this whole section, duplicate that, and we're just gonna get rid of this, turn this back on. Turn this little bass thing up. Turn the bass off, the one that is muted. See what this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. So we are gonna ignore that, and maybe let's try bringing in this little peak lead sound. See what this sounds like. Okay, so that actually sounds really good, but this sample still has this filter all the way open. And if we listen to the filter closely, I did this weird parameter lock where one of the steps, the filter pops open right there. I don't want that right now. So what I'm gonna have to do is just have this default filter that I've added, close it all the way down. And we're gonna go to our automation lanes, and that's just gonna be for this section here. We'll drop it to about 19, sure. Bring that here, 19. Yeah, there we go. I think this hi-hat, this hi-hat's fine for now. Let's do this. I'm gonna zoom in, and we're just gonna consolidate this into a whole clip. That way it's a little cleaner. That way we don't see all this like, these tiny little lines, right? So we can just do this instead. And we're gonna switch back to this hat here through halfway point of this little breakdown. And keep this going. Yo, you know what? Let's keep this here. What we're gonna do, we're gonna add utility, and we're gonna fade this out. Gain, all the way down, click here, do this, a little bit of a curve, bring this, curve that all the way back up. And the other thing I wanna do is we have that other pitch drum sample that we're not using. So we have the drums chop. Are we using both this entire time? Wow, we are, okay. So let's just take this lower pitched one out and see what this does. So this is the break. Okay, so it comes in a little harsh, right? There's a big like bump, and it just kind of disappears. This would kind of help a little bit if I just open this section up, which is that peak sample. Oh, did I delete it? I don't think I deleted it, did I? Oh, right, because it was like a take lane type of thing. So let's, you know what, that's fine. We're gonna just do that same reverb that we have on here. Right, we have a reverb, and we will just go ahead and send this off. Do we have any reverbs here? Okay, cool. We got a delay and we got a reverb here. Let's just do this instead. We're gonna smooth this little transition out by just blasting this off to the delay, just like this. And then same thing here with the reverb. I know I didn't grab it completely really quick. So we're gonna do this, bring this here, up, this here, and a little bit of a curve, sure. And then same thing here, dot, dot, open, bring this here. Let's see what this sounds like. So that helps a bit. Another thing we need to do, if we want this to be very just harsh, we can just add another little drum sound in here. So we'll go here, we'll say cymbal. Sure, let's grab that, put this here, hit R to reverse it. And where are we working? Right over here. So holding down Command, I can get this to go a little bit past that line, and I'm just gonna delete that so we can see what this will sound like. -10. Yeah, that's cool. We'll even lower the pitch on this. Turn the warp off. Yeah, that's fine. Delete that. Lower this by -18. Maybe even lower. Let's do -22. These numbers are completely arbitrary, by the way. Yeah, that's it. And then from here, I mean, basically, you just kind of go back into the... Yeah, I mean, that's really it. We're gonna work this a bit more, but I don't wanna bore you to death. I'm gonna leave it here for now and kind of work on this again over the weekend. And yeah, I appreciate you coming by. Seriously, if you are interested in getting some really dope sounding mastering going, check out LANDR. Link to it down in the description below. Appreciate you a lot, my friend. And until next week, you already know the drill. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace. Oh yeah, that's tight. We didn't even add one of these in there. Yep.